Jesse Matthews stood before Judge David Schell and one by one pleaded guilty to attempted capital murder, abduction, and sexual penetration with an object. And Jean, it was a move not many saw coming, including the 14 jurors in that jury box. From day one, investigators were saying this was going to be very challenging terrain for them to cover. But the newest thing that we found out today, which you did mention, is that Randy Taylor was at this sex shop the day that Alexis Murphy went missing. You type in your zip code or where you live. Of course, we're in Danville right now, and you can actually see the system on it. It says right now the temperature about 19 degrees. Gene, we got our hands on these search warrants just a few hours ago. Laptops, thumb drives, and even more than $2,000 were seized from this business that you see behind me. They are still in the process of conducting interviews, and he says they won't be releasing any information until those are finished. Now, in the meantime, we spent our day checking in with local businesses along Interstate 81. You can see Gander Mountain. Camping World is also over here to see if they had any video of the chase. It's not really making that much of a difference. We were on 581 earlier, and we were seeing the same conditions as well. Investigators say people were trickling outside of Stefano's Saturday morning. Again, a little bit before 2, they started walking down Campbell Avenue and ended up in this lot that sits right next to it. Gene, the jury never got this case. Entering into an Alford plea means Jesse Matthew acknowledges there is enough evidence to convict him, but it allows him to maintain his innocence. Now, an end to this trial has been a long time coming. This investigation opened up back in 2005, and 10 years later, the victim in this case says she finally has what she's been looking for, and that's justice. It's been an emotional 3 days inside this Fairfax County courthouse for not only the victim, but Jesse Matthews' family as well, and it has finally come to an end. Are you Jesse's father?
Yes.
How do you feel about him taking the plea agreement?
No comments, please. Thank you.
Okay. Are you Jesse's sister? Fairfax Commonwealth's attorney Ray Murrow wanted the case to make it to the jury, but he says he is not upset by the outcome.
This is just part of the process. The defendant has a right under the Virginia Constitution to plead guilty, and the judge honored that right, and that sometimes happens in this business.
14 jurors heard from at least 10 witnesses this week. Some were at the crime scene the night RG was attacked. Others had a part in this nearly decade-long investigation.
I was very confident in the case that we were building.
And Murrow thinks that confidence will carry over to 2 other cases. Now that this trial is over, Matthew will head to Charlottesville. That's where he is facing the death penalty in the death of UVA student Hannah Graham. Murrow thinks his work here has helped lay the groundwork for prosecutors in Charlottesville.
Now he's convicted of about the most serious crimes you can be convicted of, and that might put a little hitch in his giddy up at the next trial, but who's to say?
Matthew will be sentenced on October 2nd. He faces 3 life sentences. Tracy Neininger is taking full responsibility for the night of October 7th, 2014.
To this charge, how do you plead? I'm sorry, how do you plead?
Video played in court Friday morning shows just how much alcohol was in Neininger's system. Here you can see her red BMW crossing the double yellow line on Brambleton Avenue. Keep in mind, this was a little after 5 p.m. on a Tuesday, not far from James Madison Middle School. What's worse is this dashcam video from the actual stop. You can see Neininger attempting to get out of her car and falling over.
The fact that Miss Neininger had fallen down causes the officer some concern.
But let's rewind to before Roanoke City police officers got to Neininger. We now know a woman was driving south on 581 when she got off at the Colonial Avenue exit. Assistant Commonwealth's attorney John McNeil says the driver was getting ready to make a left turn at the light across from Towers when she saw Neininger's BMW.
As the vehicle was making this left turn, once again, there are 2 left turn lanes. The vehicle drifted all the way over into the other left turn lane, the second left turn lane, and almost struck the vehicle that was right beside her.
Both women continued down Colonial Avenue toward Virginia Western Community College. Neininger's driving was reportedly not getting any better, so the woman called Roanoke City 911 dispatchers.
This red BMW continued to drift over and back, actually drifting over and straddling the middle yellow lane. It would drift back over to the right lane, and at some point it actually struck the right curb, kind of bounced off the right curb and back over again.
McNeil says Neininger drove through some neighborhood streets and even stopped to get out of her car. The concerned citizen was still on the phone with dispatchers when she witnessed Neininger falling to the ground, standing back up and getting back into her car to drive away. Shortly after, Neininger ignored oncoming traffic and turned onto Brambleton Avenue, where Officer Tate finally located her. He witnessed her driving over the center line not once, but twice, and that's when he pulled her over and noticed some awkward behavior.
Despite the fact, as the report can tell, it's raining heavily this day, Ms. Neininger is actually wearing dark sunglasses. He also notices that Ms. Neininger is leaning in the seat away from him.
Tate questioned her and gave her a field sobriety test, which she failed. She was arrested and taken to the Roanoke City Police Department for a breathalyzer test. That's where Neininger blew a .25, which is more than 3 times the legal limit. The work being done here in the Roanoke Valley is going long distances to change one man's life forever. Robbie Camper has made hundreds.
It's just basically time and materials and then attention to detail.
Even thousands of prosthetics.
You give somebody a sense of normalcy back again.
But this one tugs at the heartstrings a little more, and here's why.
That's pretty amazing. You know, it's necessity is the mother of invention, you know, so people basically do what they need to do to survive.
And that's exactly what this man has been doing in the Dominican Republic, surviving. He lost his leg in a motor scooter accident and has been carrying on with everyday life the only way he knows how, with this wooden leg.
It was very crude, but, you know, relatively functional, that he made himself, and it was basically made out of scrap lumber and 2x4s.
But that's all about to change thanks to Doug Call. He's the president of Virginia Prosthetics and has been traveling to the Dominican Republic for the past 8 years to help those who can't help themselves.
You could tell from the lumber, the scrap lumber with paint and nail holes and everything else in it, that he had to salvage in order to be able to scrape enough material to make himself a prosthesis.
So the crew at Virginia Prosthetics is making him a brand new leg, and it all starts here.
As you can see, he's wanding the interior there, making that 3D image. As he moves that wand around, it comes up on the screen.
That 3D image is used to cut an exact replica of his leg in this machine. Then it's off to this room, where plastic is melted and placed on top of the mold. Camper then makes sure all the edges are smooth and buff before everything is put together with a few screws. With a few finishing touches, Camper and the rest of the crew smile, knowing their hard work will get this guy back on the right foot.
He should be able to do anything that he wants to do.